How's it going, guys? It is Ryan here, and welcome to something a bit different today. This is my thoughts and predictions for the 2016 lineup, as it is now the summer break, and this is where the nitty-gritty begins of drivers. Who goes where, who stays, who leaves F1 for good. I'm gonna give my predictions on who I feel will be on the grid for the 2016 season. If you've got any ideas who you think will be on the grid next season, let me know in the comments below of your suggestions of drivers for the 2016 season. So let's kick off with the big guns, Mercedes-Benz, and it is obvious that they're going to stick with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Obviously the two are a strong partnership for Constructors' Championships, even if they're a bit on and off track, but they are two of the strongest drivers on the grid, and Mercedes would just not lose them at all. So they are definitely going to be sticking together, in my honest opinion, on there. Next up, Ferrari. Now this is an interesting one. Obviously Sebastian Vettel will definitely be there next season, but the question surrounds who will be his teammate for the 2016 season. My money is that Raikkonen will get the boot, unfortunately, and in comes one of my favourite drivers in F1, Valtteri Bottas from Williams. Now this has been in the news recently over the Hungarian Grand Prix, saying that they've all met up and they've discussed contracts, but some have said that hasn't happened yet. So I feel Bottas will announce, or probably there'll be some news about Ferrari's driver lineup at the end of the summer break. But in my honest opinion, I feel it'll be Vettel and Bottas team will be the lineup at Ferrari for next season. Moving on to Williams, and Massa has apparently been confirmed to stay at Williams for the 2016 season. The question surrounds who he will be. There are a couple of names in the hat. There is the likes of Alex Lynn from GP2. Jenson Button's been named at the Hungarian Grand Prix as a potential runner, and Nico Hülkenberg has also been linked. But I feel out of the three drivers, it will be Nico Hülkenberg who I feel will be in that Williams seat. It's a big team now, Williams, and Hülkenberg's, this is his big chance to get into a big team and maybe go for potential podiums or even a win down the line. Next up, Red Bull, and obviously they are sticking with their two drivers, Daniel Ricciardo, who has said that he has a desire to join Ferrari at some stage, but obviously he is still contracted to Red Bull, so he is staying put, as is Daniel Kvyat as well, the young Russian who got his first ever podium at the Hungarian Grand Prix, so he will be staying as well. Next up, Force India. Now this one's an interesting one because I've been thinking about what's going to happen here if Hülkenberg departs. Obviously I still feel that Sergio Perez will be at the team next season. He has the money from his Mexican sponsorships that have come across, and is going to be a massive factor, I feel, for the future of Force India, as they are in a bit of bother with money and they are struggling for some finance. So for their sake, they need to keep Sergio Perez in the team. Obviously with the Mexican Grand Prix coming up, they're going to get some big sponsorship money hopefully down there from the Mexican sponsors. So it's going to be quite a interesting decision what they do with that. But the interesting one coming up now is who will team with Perez. There's a couple of drivers in GP2 that obviously Force India's sister car team have, but I feel that Pascal Wehrlein will be that man at Force India. He has tested with them during the winter testing earlier this year, so he has got some really good pace in the Force India when he tested there, so I feel he may get the jump, obviously with Paul di Resta being in the Mercedes-Benz style thing when he was at Force India. So I feel that Pascal Wehrlein will be there and Mercedes will give Force India that driver for them. Next up, Toro Rosso. Now I feel that they're going to stay as they are with Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. They've both done an incredible job in their first season of Formula 1, mainly Verstappen getting 4th in Hungary. So I feel these two will stay at Toro Rosso for maybe at least another season. But I heard a little bit of a squeaky rumour that Verstappen was apparently going to be linked with a big team, but that's been laughed off completely on there. Next up, Sauber, and this is the definite confirmation of drivers we've heard from the paddock, and it is that Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Nasr will still be at the team next season, both signing a new contract with the team, so I don't need to go any further with Sauber. Next up is Lotus. Now this is a very debatable one, this one. Who will stay and who will go. I feel that Romain Grosjean will stay with the team and will be the main driver, but the teammate of his will be, which I feel will be Jonathan Palmer, who is the reserve driver. I feel he will get in, have a chance in Formula 1, and Pastor Maldonado, who has just been, I still think he's just not supposed to be in F1, just clearly showed with his numerous number of penalties in Hungary, and has not been at his pace this season, so I feel he will get the boot, and probably maybe drop down to a reserve driver, or even not be in the sport no more. So that will be quite an interesting one to see how that develops. Next up, McLaren. Now this is quite an open, broad one, because there's been a lot of rumours going around that Alonso's not enjoying F1. So is that an indication he may leave McLaren for good? My thoughts, I think he will stay for another year, because obviously the Honda engine isn't going to be the best this season, but may be strong next season, so he may stick out for another season. That's what I feel about that. Next up is his teammate. Now this is going to be a debatable one, with 3 drivers in the making of Jenson Button, Kevin Magnussen and Stoffel Vandoorne. Now I've been a massive fan of Vandoorne since he was in GP2, which is for a couple of seasons now. I think he's an extremely talented guy, and obviously you've got Kevin Magnussen, who was cruelly dropped last season to team with Alonso and lost out to Jenson Button. I still feel, I don't think he's that good, but he is okay. Obviously Fizzy's not going to be happy with me saying that on there. And obviously you've got Jenson Button, who I feel is at that time of his career where I feel he has to retire. I know it's going to be a big disappointment for some of you of my subscribers who are Jenson Button fans, but I feel his time has gone. He has been rumoured obviously with Williams, so it will be interesting to see what that goes on down the line. But for my 2 drivers at McLaren, it will be Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Vandoorne, sorry. Next up, the penultimate team, Marussia. Now this is quite a difficult one, because I don't know what they're going to do, but I feel at the minute both Wall Stevens and Roberto Merhi will stay there. They're both good drivers. They've done great performances for the team, so I feel that they will keep with Marussia, those 2 drivers. And finally, the new team coming to F1, Haas Racing, obviously the American team. I feel that they've got to have one experienced driver in Formula 1 who's got that experience. So I've gone with Esteban Gutierrez. Obviously, the Haas are getting a Ferrari engines for this for the 2015-16 season, so I feel that Ferrari may bring across Gutierrez to Haas Racing as like a partnership. And finally, the final lineup for Haas Racing is going to be an American driver. Obviously, there's been rumours about Danica Patrick coming in, but I feel Alexander Rossi will get the drive. I felt sorry for him because he was supposed to be driving. I can't remember what team it was. I think it was at Spa instead of Max Chilton, but obviously that got changed at the last minute. But I feel Rossi will be a perfect match for Haas Racing on there. So that has been my grid for the 2016 season. Obviously, let me know what you guys think of your driver lineups in the description below, in the comments below, sorry. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more F1 content on this channel. But until next time, guys, Carb DM sees the day, and I shall see you for another F1 video. Until then, have a great day.